back to the podcast, 12 Notes. We got Alcatraz in the building.
Alcatraz, Tony Nario.
What do you prefer?
Whatever you want, bro. I just started using Tony Nario because I hadn't put anything out in like 9 years, and I was just focused. You know, are you getting into it now? You want to know?
Yeah.
Nah, well, you know, I had my last project before changing my name for what I'm re-releasing new music under, which is Tony Nario, my real name, is Alcatraz, Hiphopalkatraz. I own the name. It's actually patented, right? Okay. So I own that patent of Hiphopalkatraz. And everybody just calls me Traz. I had stopped putting out music mainly because I had my daughter. I was kind of like focusing on that and making sure, like I always said, like if I have a kid, I wanted to be like a great father, you know what I mean?
Right.
And sometimes, like, you know, people will say like, oh, I'm doing it for my kids, and like, bro, you're never there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like, yeah, you're doing it for them, but just for the monetary. And I think I figured out a while back that my family, which is, you know, pretty much like my mother and my daughter and my father, you know, are the main ones. And then you got aunts and uncles and stuff like that. Yeah. So I just kind of focused on her, man. And then just recently, about a month ago, mid-November, I put out a single called Characters, featuring my boy Breeze. The video's out right now. Everything's under Tony Nario, and then you'll see like Hiphopalkatraz attached to it as well. Mm-hmm. But everything is TonyNario.
No space?
No. That's all just one word, Tony Nario.
Alright. So are you getting back into it, or are you just...
Yeah. I just, I think it's a little different this time. You know, the last projects that I did 9 years ago, that was me really trying to do my artistry. Like, you know, I was trying to, you know, I was doing shows, I was touring, like, you know, with my second project. My first project was called The Escape. And that one, I went out there, did shows, performed, did my thing. I think I sold about close to 7,000 physical hard copies on the street.
Yeah.
Close to that. I took some of that bread, opened up a dry cleaning business, which I had for about 13 years. Got rid of that about 6 years ago now, just because shit was going on with the economy, just different things. You learn as you go. Mm. And then after that, I did a project called My Neck of the Woods Volume 2. And that one was like probably like one of my hardest pushing projects, because every show I was doing with like Sean Healy, and around that same time my boy D Royal, who's like a longtime friend, he connected us with Mellow Man Ace. Mm-hmm. And then like Mellow took a liking to us, and then he started taking us on tour with him. Like, you know, he'd pay us to come. He'd let us perform songs off my CD, and then I'd go out, you know, and sell them in the crowd, like myself. Yeah. And then through Mello, like I said, for that second project, he introduced to a dude named Lyric. Shout out to Lyric, who was friends with, I'm sure you've heard of he's an IG sensation now, Concrete.
Yeah.
You know, he used to go by Beretta.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they got into the booking, so I started like just doing mad shows, bro. Like I opened up for Mims when he was doing his thing. Opened up for Omar Cruz when he was doing his shit. Like he had just did his 50-50 deal with Interscope. Yeah. Opened up for the Beatnuts. Opened up for Fat Joe. Opened up for DJ Quick. Like I was always trying to do direct support, because I was like, I had worked out a thing with Lyric and Sean Healy where he would want you to sell tickets, and most fools will sell the tickets, right? But then they just want to do the show. So I would tell him, nah, I'll sell your tickets, but I need an extra 15 to 30 for my pocket. Mm. And that's how I would make my bread. Yeah. So, you know, I've always been business minded. So I would sell the tickets, and people would buy them for my show. I'd give them a CD and a poster and a t-shirt along with the ticket. You feel me? And then made just a bunch of connections from there. Met Kid Frost. Kid Frost and Mellow, man. Shout out to those dudes, man. I love those guys. They performed at my uncle's 50th birthday party for me, bro. Wow. Over at the Moose Lodge in Santa Monica. You know what I mean? Like, that's how ill it was. Like, and like, Mellow kicked it for a little while, and then he had his lady, so he took off. Fucking Frost stayed there all night, fucking ate. Like, he had some frijoles and the whole thing. Like, yeah, super cool, bro. And then after that, Mello hooked me up to meet a guy named Shiesty from San Diego who did the Latin Rap Conference. And around that time, I had finished up my third project, which was called My Neck of the Woods Volume 2. And I was recording it during that time. I was still performing stuff from My Neck of the Woods Volume 1. And when I went to the show, bro, this is how I met Tony Touch and the Beatnuts. Was Mello asked me to pick them up from the airport because I stay in Inglewood. And I took them over to the Graph in West Hollywood. And super cool relationship. Psycho Les was ill, bro. Like, Juju was like, oh, I'm going to go to the room. Psycho Les was like, you want to roll to a party? And I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, it was like in the middle of the day, right? Like 3 o'clock. I go with him, bro. We fucking rolled up to Michael Rappaport's house, bro. Yeah. I didn't know he was like a big Beatnuts fan, like super, bro. Yeah. So anyway, I'm just telling you kind of like my journey. Right. And then me and Tony created a great relationship. He still comes to LA, texts me, hey, show up, you know, do the funk boxes, you know. And he hosted that project for me. Oh, My Neck of the Woods Volume 2 is hosted by him. I just restarted putting everything back up, so these will all be on all the platforms again. Yeah. Right now, Characters is on there. Shout out to my dude Breeze again, bro. From Breeze, you know, he's a dope ass producer. He used to go by Mr. Loon, and he's worked with a lot of like dope artists, you know, from ASAP Rocky to Mr. Capone to shout out to the homie Midget Loco, you know. I have a great record with him called Mexicano, where we're just kicking knowledge. Yeah, I heard that one. That shit was... You fuck with that one? That shit was crazy. Oh, thank you, brother. You know what was interesting about that record, bro? Was that was the first record, you know, I don't want to say ever, but a lot of people in our circle anyway seem to believe it was the first time that a so-called, like, my style of hip-hop, which obviously I'm older now, so now when you look at hip hop, like all the morros, they look alike, right? They all kind of dress the same, black, white, Asian, doesn't matter. It's right. Hip hop's like kind of like mainstream. Yeah. Not kind of, it is. But at that time when we did that record, there had been a big division between guys like me who considered themselves like real MCs, real hip hop, and guys like that looked like Midget. Who we looked at as like, oh, those fools are Chicano rap, like right. they're cholos, like we don't fuck with that, yeah. Right? And in reality, it was stupid the whole time because when I got to meet Midget's knowledge of hip hop, bro, is insane. Like the things that he talks about from b-boying to graffiti, like his love for hip hop. Yeah. And then he was tripping out like, oh, like this isn't some Mexican dude just trying to like hang out with the black dudes. Like he just happened to grow up in Inglewood with black dudes. Right. That's it. Yeah. You know, and he understood that. So that's how that record came together with the homie Oreo from 27 Junkies, who's brothers with Burst Rock from 27 Junkies, the pop lock crew. Yeah. And then they got Loon. Loon produced the beat. I think I wrote the first verse. Loon did the hook. Put in I think he did that after Midget laid his verse. Then he put in the movie intros from like Blood In, Blood Out. Mm-hmm. And it did well. And then shortly after that, I mean, you started seeing a lot more collaborations with like the Mexico, because there was never any point for us to do that, bro. I think it was just a misunderstanding because, like I said, when I grew up, you know, as I was growing up, I never really took on the West Coast cholo look because I was, you know, my homie Glasses, he always fucking clowns me. He says, you're an East Coast sympathizer, he says, because I love East Coast hip hop, right? Yeah. But I love West Coast too, but I think I gravitated more to the East Coast in terms of the look, the sound. I just felt like it was more me, right? Even being from where I was, it didn't matter. And I think that's what sometimes sometimes the cholos or Chicano rap would look at sometimes, and they'd be like, oh, these fools are trying to be black. They're trying to be this. They're trying to be that.
So the hate comes from the Chicano rap scene, right?
I think it did at one time.
It's not like you hated the Chicano rap. You were just doing your thing, and they kind of hated on you?
Okay. A little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
You know, I got to take accountability, because I think what it was I looked at things from a logical standpoint. Because a lot of times they would say racial things, right? Oh, you're trying to be you know what, right? Yeah. And then I would go, well, you're rapping. And as much as people can try to front and say, oh, well, hip hop's for everybody. Yeah, the culture is for everybody. But make no mistake, like, a lot of the first MCs were black guys. Yeah. And it's more considered a black culture, you know, in terms of the way it's promoted. Yeah.
I feel like, though, we've always been there. But, like, we played the back scene. Like,
say that again?
Like, far as, like, Latinos, like, we've always been, like, we're the B-boys and the graffiti artists. We're always there, but it's just the black people are
the forefront. Right, it has been that way. You know what I mean? Excuse me. We have been, and I think part of that, though, again, it still spun off because, what would end up happening was you had two different styles, right? You had the guys that were like, I don't sound like a Mexican rapper because I sound like more like the black guys, right? But in reality, when you start understanding like real marketing and how things work, you start to look at the fact that no Mexican that actually made it in hip hop sounded like a black artist. And that is because it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, like if you want to be, say, like I used to say, well, use me for an example so I don't shit on nobody, shit on myself, right? I want to be the Mexican Jay-Z. Well, two things. One, as good as I think I am at rapping, I'm probably, even back then, wasn't as good as Jay-Z. Like, Jay-Z's pretty fucking good, bro. Okay. Like, people can say what they want, but the skill level of the composure, the breath control, the way he says things is another level. Because rap is not always, it's not all that. No. You know what I mean? A lot of times, like, Biggie had the coolest flow because it's just how he said things, right? So that was one thing. The other thing is, even if I was as good as Jay, on a Mexican side, because I did have, you know, a lot of people that supported me, they were like, oh, you got skills, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that there was going to ever be a market of people that would want a Mexican version of a Jay-Z when they have Jay-Z. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. We don't take enough time to be ourselves. But the guys who have been successful. Kid Frost, Mellow Man Ace, Baby Bash, Little Rob, Pitbull, Big Pun. Now remember, Big Pun has always been dope, but his real push came when they started repping Boricua. Look at it, bro. Still Not a Player didn't work.
That makes sense. I think we all want somebody to root for, and that's proud of their culture and everything.
But also represents it.
Right.
We have to represent it in the videos too.
Yeah.
That's why I think a lot of people started getting offended. At least I heard a lot of people offended, you know, when like YG was doing the mariachi suits.
Yeah.
But I understood why, because I remember having this conversation. I'm like, he's not doing it tasteful. Like he wasn't doing it tasteful like what's that other kid from the other dude, man? I can't believe he's from Inglewood too. He kind of sounds like Kendrick Lamar.
I don't know.
He won the rap competition on that Netflix show, I think, with Cardi B. D Smoke.
Yeah.
D Smoke. Like, you ever heard his Spanish? Bro.
He's like,
bro, that's respect, homie.
Yeah.
When Game did the song with Tego Calderon, That was an attempt at real Snoop with Banda M. Is that what they're called? The one that he did recently with the Banda. Did you hear that one?
Nah.
Oh, bro, fire! The whole thing Spanglish. But it's you can tell Snoop fucks with our culture, bro.
Yeah.
Where like when I hear the YG and you going Maria, 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 I'm like, that sounds parody-ish, bro. Like, and it sounds like you clowning. But here becomes the problem, is that if the women allow themselves to be disrespected like that, that's on them.
Facts.
Because that's what he's doing, essentially, right? So,
and then you got the Puerto Rican on there.
Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand Sad Boy Loco was locked up, but you go, I'm sure there's somebody in his crew that rapped, or from his gang, or even if you don't want to go that way, just there's so many Mexicans you could have grabbed.
In LA, like,
because at that point, if he was gonna grab him, whoever that Puerto Rican dude is, you might as well have just gone and got Cap G.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, again, bro, I think everything with being a Mexican rapper, more than anything, is that everybody wants to be the next one, right? Rob's Uno had a dope ass line a long time ago. Is like, everybody want to be the best Latin rapper. Some most of you motherfuckers is actors, It was true at one time. Excuse me. That was the whole thing. It was like trying to be the best. I'm the best Mexican rapper. And I think if we would have focused on being the best version of just ourselves as Mexicans, we probably would have had a lot more of us breaking into the industry, And now, we have a different time. So it's like now you have guys that have their own movements. They do the weed thing. They do the, all these different brands. They make their money on their shows. They have a fan base. So it's good, right? Like, that's cool. But they ain't making no records. Where the records at?
Yeah.
Like your record, you can tell me you got 12 million views on your YouTube. I don't give a shit, bro. You not like you and kudos to you, because I can't do 1,500 people selling out shows. So you're doing that shit. But at the end of the day, you still not that guy until you have championship rings like Little Rob, till you have a neighborhood music, a summer nights.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you have those kind of records, then you in the game.
Yeah. Like,
that's when you can say, I'm that dude. Other than that, if it's just financial success and the girls and the glitz and the glam and you're doing, hey man, kudos. Who am I to tell you what your level of success is? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So
you think? I don't know how to put this. I've always felt like we were never, honestly, that good.
Who?
Like Mexican rappers.
I don't think that's true. Well, you know what? That's your opinion. That's your opinion. So I can't tell you your opinion, bro.
But
why do you say that?
Compared to everybody else, like, where do we stand? Like, who can go toe to toe with like the top rappers in the game? Like, honestly, who can go? Where's the Mexican rapper that can go toe to toe with Kendrick Lamar right now?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He don't rap in English.
Who? Kendrick?
Yeah, no. The guy that can go toe to toe with him.
You might have a point there.
He don't rap in English. I'll put Sekan against him.
Okay, but
I get what you're saying. I think what we have to get away from is comparing what we do to what we can't. We're not them. Yeah. They're not us. So the best we can do is be the best version of us.
Yeah.
I think once we really focus on that, like, oh my God, what am I talking about right now, bro? I can't believe that. You want to talk about somebody that crossed over they were the dudes that represented for Latinos? Cypress Hill and Psycho Realm.
For sure.
Sick Jackin.
For sure.
I put Sick against Kendrick.
Well, I'm talking about like now.
I like GT Garza. GT Garza goes. There was a dude, and I won't say that I didn't. My boy shared his video with me. I told him, I go, motherfucker can rap. I go, something about him is off to me, but he can rap. And he did the LA Leakers. I don't know his name. He has long hair.
Is he Mexican?
Yeah, Mexican dude. I think he's from Tijuana too. But he was an English rapper too.
But he has beard and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that dude is pretty ill, bro.
I haven't heard his music.
Yeah, he's older though, you can tell. He's got the grays and everything, so he's
Yeah.
probably like me, you know, probably just redoing his shit, you know?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I think we're definitely getting there. Like, let's say 5 years, there'll be like, there's gonna be one that's just gonna.
in English?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, it's not impossible. I just don't think that our people make that type of music. Like, I think our big artists are either a pop artist or super culturally drenched. That's all I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just look at it from how they market music.
But my also thing is, we're kind of the biggest supporters of hip hop. So why don't we support ourselves the same way?
Because we don't give ourselves somebody to root for, and when we do, we support. Like, you think Little Rob and Baby Bash got there without support? People were supporting. I think you're looking at the people that weren't supporting or like, oh, that shit's whack. But in reality, to get to that level, they had support.
Yeah.
They had to have support. There's no way you get to that level. See, the misconception of people are like, oh, well, if they put money behind you, bro, that's not how it works.
Nah.
I don't know why people think that. Like, I used to think that, and I'm speaking from experience and realizing that I used to be the guy like, yeah, man, if I just had the money behind me, it's like, yes, you can get more exposure. Yes, you can do certain things. You still got to have the records.
At the end of the day,
You got to have the records.
Yeah.
You know? It just is what it is. Or you have to have now, because of the way the internet moves, you just have to have great marketing skills. Like, that's why the Lil Rat boy got where he was. Because the initial marketing on that, bro, I remember when I first heard it, bro, like, I was behind it. I was like, am I a Mexican from New York? I'm like, and even though fools were hating, bro, I was one of the first people you could ask anybody around me, bro. I was like, this fool sounds like MOP and Onyx.
yeah.
Like, he has that. And then he said he loved DMX. I could see that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't rap like X, but you have that rah. And as little as he was, big voice. You know what I mean? But two things. One, that record was hot. I don't care what anybody says. That was hot, right? So the record was hot. But what really made it blow up, what made you even look at the record, was the video. The video, the guys, colored hair. It was the marketing.
Yeah.
So now, you know, I think that's how you will get the guy that you're talking about, that we want. But I don't know. Who knows? I can't tell the future. I don't know if he reaches, because you're talking about reaching like a Drake plateau, right? Like a Jay-Z, Nas plateau. I mean, it's not impossible. I just don't think whoever does it is doing it in that style. It has to be something unique and creative.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to hear a Mexican rapper. I don't know, and probably when people see this shit, they're gonna think I'm crazy and probably say fuck that guy. But nobody wants to see a Mexican rapper, and it was a hard pill for me to swallow. But nobody wants to hear and listen to a Mexican rapper that sounds like a black rapper. They're gonna go get the black rapper.
I don't think that's true.
You don't think, or you do think?
I don't think.
Okay.
Because nowadays, if you look at the younger artists coming up, I mean, they don't sound Mexican at all.
No.
They sound really black.
And who's successful of the young artists? I'm talking about on the level that you're talking about.
Level?
Like a YG. We'll go with the newer, not even the echelon, right? Me and you talking about the echelon, right? The J. Cole's, the Drake, like that's a upper Kanye, that's an upper echelon of artistry, right? We're not even just talking about MCs, like we're talking about artistry.
Yeah.
So who's even like a YG or a Blueface that's even had that kind of success? That's Mexican.
I guess not. But I'm saying like they're coming up. Like I'm talking about like that Peso, or Suede, like these type of people. Or even like OGZ. Like he's kind of I think he's above pretty much every Mexican artist right now. Besides maybe like Lil G. But
where's the records?
OGZ got records.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't hear them. Like, I'm an older guy, but I try to tune into what the young boys are listening to.
Yeah.
What I hear from OGZ is great marketing. That he's from Showline, what are they called? Shoreline Mafia, yeah. Right? So, he's always over there by Venice and Fairfax, and he's out. And, so that's how I hear about him. Mm-hmm. I don't hear the records. Like, I've heard the records is what I'm saying, but he ain't got,
I know what you mean.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, so again, you kind of validating my point. Like, they can get popping on the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing wrong with that. And they probably get spins other places too. See, so that's another thing. Like, don't ever take that, like, Lil G in them. Like, they probably get spins New Mexico, Texas, different places where it's big markets of our people, right? I don't know if they're on primetime radio or are they on, like, syndicated smaller shows, because I don't know everybody's radio. But in the prime markets like New York and LA, they not.
We're definitely not. I listen to a lot of podcasts, right? And most hip hop podcasts are like New York based, like East Coast. Mm-hmm. Number one, they hardly talk about the West Coast. Number two, they definitely don't talk about Mexican rappers. Mm-hmm. So,
but when they do, like the Breakfast Club, again, bro, this goes back. Okay, I'll talk about this on here. Like Snow the Product. Mm. She might be the most poppin' Mexican artist.
Yeah, point. Yeah.
She's a woman.
Right.
Right? She can rap.
Yeah.
She can rap.
Yeah.
And when she went to the Breakfast Club and she was doing an interview, this is just my opinion. She doesn't come off as a likable person.
Yeah.
Very almost standoffish, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying she doesn't laugh, she doesn't giggle. She knows Charlamagne, they have a relationship. You know what I mean? But then Envy asks her, what's Chicano rap? And you should have seen her face. She goes like this. I don't know what that is. Like, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is where I came into understanding after doing that record with Midget, after getting to know him and meeting Spanky Loco, and several other guys from the Chicano market, from Charlie Rowe. I've met Chino Grande, been in the studio with him and Glasses, doing their thing. However someone wants to be, I guess, not talked about, but addressed is up to them totally, right? So they might disagree with what I'm about to say. But what I felt was Chicano is a person that comes from Mexican parents' descent, right? And you born here. That's Chicano. At first, it was kind of like a derogative word, but the word Chicano comes from Mexica, which is not Mexicano. That's why we made the song Mexicano.
Yeah.
From the culture.
Yeah.
Is the language of Nahua. So I looked at it like, why didn't, with her, as many fans as she has, a platform, you chose, either you don't know, you're ashamed, or you just felt you were too cool to speak on it. It was one of those three. Because why wouldn't you could have taken that time to educate, even if you don't consider yourself a Chicana, right? Which she is, I would think. I don't know if she's like second, third generation. Maybe she's not. I don't know. Some people already have, their grandparents and great grandparents have been here forever.
Yeah.
You know, I'm actually like, I believe second generation or first, really, because my mom and dad were born in Mexico, but they came here when they were like 9, like, so they grew up here, right? My grandfather. So when I realized what Chicano was, I said, oh, I'm Chicano. I'm just not a gangster Chicano rapper, but I'm Chicano.
Yeah.
And I can rep that, and I can talk about that, and I can still talk the way I talk, how I grew up in Inglewood, talking to my boys, you know. And it's okay. And she didn't do that. And I was very disappointed in that. I'll say that.
So have you ever like took offense if somebody called you a Chicano rapper?
When I was younger.
Right.
As I got older, I don't care. Call me Latin rap, Latin hip hop. I actually coined on my video, I just put the thing in to patent that as well, because nobody has it, the logo on the intro of my video for Tony Nario. If you check it out, I got I'm doing my thing. What I'm finally doing is I'm putting in my hip hop with my Chicano roots into the video.
Yeah.
And so what I did on the intro is I made a logo, and it says this is Chicano hip hop, because it ain't never been called that.
Yeah, it's true.
It's always Chicano rap, Latin rap, Latin hip hop. I've heard Latin hip hop, but I said I'm gonna call it Chicano hip hop, so that when they ask me, I can give them a proper explanation. Hey, bro, I grew up on Mac 10, on DJ Quick, on NWA. My pops used to be bumping NWA, LL Cool J, the Fat Boys, Ice-T. Then as I got older, I got into Digital Underground and all these different, people. Like, I'm hip hop, but I am Chicano. And if they start asking about, well, what about the guys in Chicano rap? I'm like, well, that's Chicano rap, and it took on that name because of what it was, bro. And I think it was brilliant in marketing. I think E-Dub and Kool-Aid did something amazing with Pocos Pero Locos, bro. Like, those fools, there was a market for that. For the bald-headed cholo that looked like a cholo, bro, is what, I'll say this, back then when motherfuckers was hating like me, who were being a hater because I was like, oh, well, they're not even dope at rapping. Like, I'm a dope MC, I'll rip them apart. This is what I'm talking about, right? I'm lyrical, spiritual, miracle, individual. Like, that's what I'm on, right?
Yeah.
These fools are actually being who they really genuinely are. I'm trying to be what I'm seeing on TV from Busta Rhymes and A Tribe Called Quest, and you get what I'm saying? Fucking Wu-Tang Clan, So, in reality, they're being more authentic. And because they're being more authentic, those fools were making money.
Yeah.
Real money. 60,000 copies out the trunk. 20, 30,000 out the trunk, $20 a pop. Fuck 10 a pop. They were selling them at 20 back then. Mr. Night Owl, Mr. Capone, Lil Uno, Mr. Shadow, the list goes on and on. Mr. Diablo, El Sancho, like all them fools that were out there doing their shit at that time. I remember when I first came across Mr. Shadow on the Pocos Pero Locos, and it blew my mind because I was like, I seen him. And I'm like, and then I heard him and I said, oh, fuck, this is the evolution. That's in my mind, right? Because I'm like, he was spitting. He was like on some Dub C spitting type shit. You know what I mean? Like he had that West Coast flavor, but he was busting. So I remember hearing it, seeing a CD. And at that time, I think I was working with this dude named Cliff Ritchie, who was like, I guess he had worked with Lighter Shade of Brown. And I remember he took a record of mine because he had wanted me to do these records. And I said, yeah, like I'll do them. And I had did a record, bro. It was around the time when the whole, Shoulder lean, remember when like everything was a dance?
Yeah.
And I did this song for him, and the song, I still have it, and it was the song was like, put your fist to your chest and just 1, 2 step. I said 1, 2 step. I said, and that was the hook, right? My daughter. And I remember he had a meeting. He said he had a meeting with like Sylvia Rollins or something. And around that time was when they were getting ready to drop Bash with Sugar Sugar. And Rob was coming right after that because they had Universal Bungalow at that time. And those were the two Mexican dudes that were popping. I just knew I was going to get my shot. And then he goes, we need you to do something more like Fresh Prince. Like, we want you to be like the Fresh Prince, kind of like LL Cool J, like, you know, I Need Love type record. And I didn't understand it back then because in my mind, I'm like, nah, bro, I'm Cannabis. You know what I mean? Like, I'm Method Man. I'm ODB. Like, that's who I am, right? Yeah. And what I didn't understand back then when they said, well, we don't know how to market this, I'm thinking, oh, y'all just don't fuck with me. Like, y'all don't fuck with my music.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. It was like, how do we market you, bro? Like, and we're talking, what, 2001, 2002? Right? This is back then. I got off on a tangent. Where was I going with this? Where was the initial question?
I don't remember.
Fuck. I got off on a tangent, but there was a reason why I was connecting to that somehow. About I think I was trying to connect it to like Mr. Shadow, that whole movement. But those were the two main guys, I guess, in essence. Those were the main two guys that really did what they were supposed to, made the records. Oh, that's what I was getting to. Our people, for some odd reason, gravitate to different things, but that's not what it was. I know what it was. So the 1-2 step around that time when he took it, when Bash was over there, like a year later, and he'll swear up and down he didn't give it to nobody or whatever. Like a year later, or I don't know how many years later, because I don't know when that damn record came out, but Down came out with Lean Like a Cholo, elbows up, side to side. Again, I remember I told Glass, I think they stole my song, bro. Like, I had the record, you know, put your fist to your chest, just 1-2 step. But then G and I was like kind of offended at the time. He's like, yeah, bro, but that shit's way better. And I'm like, how the fuck you say that, bro? Like, that fool can't rap like me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I was like, and then he was like, he goes, you need to get that shit out your head, bro. He's like, you're not from New York. Like, nobody cares about that shit out west. And I used to listen to that, and that's, again, like you say, the reason why a lot of those podcasts cater to the East, it's because of that, bro. Like, the West Coast is not really into the fundamentals of hip hop.
You got a point.
It's out here, smoke weed.
Yeah,
fuck girls, fuck bitches, they say,
but it's the vibe out here.
Palm tree, right. But hence, so's the music. That's why guys like name me, bro. We had this conversation. I don't care who's the most popular rapper right now. I don't care if the kids or nobody. There is no one rapper more popular in the world than Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
And what did Snoop sell? Culture. West Coast gangster culture. 21st Street, is that what it was? 21st Street, Long Beach, Crip culture. Yeah. That's what he sold. Yeah. And on top of that, he did records with Bloods and different people. So then he just started selling it as a whole. You know, I heard Snoop do stuff with Capone. Twista had a record with Capone. It's Not Love, Don't Get It Twisted. You know, and a lot of people be trying to say stuff about Capone, like, oh, he ain't even Mexican. Like, well, bro, you know what? From what I see, he clearly grew up with us. Yeah. So at that point, I mean, he's already done whatever he was going to do to validate his name on the other end of things. So I don't think he really gives a shit what anyone in the music industry says. You get what I mean? Like, it is what it is. He's validated himself. And on top of that, he's actually, from what I've seen and read, seems like he's helped out a lot of people, Mexican rappers or just Latin rappers.
Seems like it. I don't want to get into that, but I had something on my mind and you just made me forget.
Oh, my bad, man. Talk too much.
Nah, it's all good. So you said you had that song in 2001. Like, when did you actually start, like, making music?
I made my first record when I was about 16. No, I'm lying. I must have been about 17 going on 18. It was around the era of right when it was starting the .com. That makes me old as shit, right? But that's the other part people don't pay attention to. That's a whole other conversation of how fast shit has been moving, right? Yeah. It seems long, but it's not that long.
Yeah.
It's like 15 years. So what happened was I was working at this place called Cosmo.com. It was like an Amazon before Amazon. People could go online, they could order food, video games, movies, whatever. I met this dude there. He was a producer. He actually knew this dude named Slice from Slice Records, which was right there on Prairie and Arbor Vitae in Inglewood. And the dude had Slice Record store in there. And he was like, come through. And my mom worked right next door at the Cleaners right there. Funny how the universe works and God works, that I go there, you know, I already knew Slice. I didn't know he knew the guy that worked, I forgot his name, the guy that I worked with over at, I think Tyler was his name, Ty, worked at Cosmo.com. So when he told me to go to Slice, I'm like, you know Slice? He's like, yeah, man, it's the homie. I'm like, all right, cool. I go, he has a studio? He's like, yeah, it's in the back of the store. Because in the front was all records. Back then was when they used to, consignment, you could take your shit in, right? So went to his studio, bro, and fucking walked in, started freestyling. Years later, I would realize who I was in there freestyling with. I was freestyling with Eastwood, Damani. You know what I mean? Like fools were giving me props. But that day he took the record. That was like my first time ever recording. I remember because he goes, so how many bars is your verse? And I counted the lines on the paper. I said, 21. He goes, 21? What is that, the lost bar? And I was like, I don't know what you mean, bro. I just write my raps. He's like, all right. So he was the first one that taught me structure. Like back then, like now it's kind of gotten all over the place. But back then, remember, it was 8-bar hook, 16-bar verse, 8, 16, 8, 16. There's always 3 verses, right, back then. So that was my first time, bro.
And what'd you record on? Like
ADATs.
What is that? I'm 30, so
yeah, you're about a decade behind. Yeah. So ADATs were they look like VHS tapes, and it was the era after reels. You know what a reel is, right? The actual reel. And I've recorded on reels too, by the way. So ADATs were the VHS looking tapes, and that's what we recorded on. In terms of the systems, like in terms of like Pro Tools and all that, I don't even know if that was a thing. Like I wasn't into the engineering.
It was out, but like it was like hella slow. It took
like
hours just to record a little line and shit.
Yeah.
But
so the ADATs is what
how do you like copy that shit? Like, how do you distribute from that?
Well, from the ADATs, you would actually that was the era of CDs. So the ADATs, you would record the vocals, mix everything into the ADAT so that it sounds proper the way that they would do it, and then we would burn the actual CD. But then what you would also, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to, because I didn't do the engineering part, I believe they would take that ADAT and then you would take it to an actual mastering studio. Because back then you didn't do both. Like it was kind of separate. Like you recorded and then you took it somewhere for mastering. And then from that mastering process, you would listen to it and then you'd burn down a master CD. One master CD. Like you might make 2 copies, but that first one is the actual digital quality. And then you would take that and you'd have them burn, and then you would just kind of, multiply it from there, and then you'd get out there and sell it.
To the ADAT, you keep it?
I still got them.
You get to keep it?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Hell yeah. I still got all my ADATs, bro. From all kinds of old shit, bro. Like, I had a group called In the Mix. We used to record on ADAT, and then I believe I ended up having a few with this crew called the Money Cats. But I think by the time I was with them, it was more about CDs, and it was already more Pro Tools. Like, at that point, you actually would burn the Pro Tool files onto it. Like, you would get the CD for the digital files, and then you would take that CD to go get mastered. You wouldn't take the VHS anymore. Now you were taking the disc.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, bro. It's good though, man. Good times, man. Good times.
So how easy was it to like get studio time?
For me, man, I was always blessed, man. I always like somehow met someone through someone. Like the first producer I met, my mom's my biggest supporter, and she met some dude named Rolo. I forgot what his real name is. She knew him by his last name because he would come to her cleaners. And she's like, yeah, I met this guy. I got his number, and he says he does the sounds, the beats. She says, she's like, so you can rap. And I was like, oh, all right. And so I went. He lived in Hawthorne, bro, and we started working together, bro. He was making everything on the MP, pretty much. I think he had like a little motif MIDI, you know what I mean, like to do the EQs and all that. And yeah, bro, that's how it happened. And then from him, he would make the beats. I met someone else through another homie. His cousin had a studio, and then he started recording. But around that time, everything just snowballed, bro. Like I recorded there, and then I met somebody else. I ended up meeting this dude named Kaniki, who was also recording Omar Cruz when he was Blunt's Law. Like before he was Blunt's Law, he was Omar Cruz. If I'm not mistaken, before he like became O Cruz, I believe he was Lyrical Assassin and then Blunt's Law, and then he became Omar Cruz as he was like finding himself and becoming more marketable. You know what I mean? Because remember, he has worked with Lulu and BYI, and he actually got a chance to be in the machine for a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Everybody's like excited and shit. Like,
yeah. I was a hater, bro.
Yeah.
I was a hater. He was tight and I was mad. But super cool dude. I've met him. We've talked. You know, I wasn't being a hater. I was just, I think I had met him. We had a meeting, and I didn't like the way it went, and he didn't even pay attention to it went that way. One of those kind of misunderstandings. Like, nah, bro, I wasn't being a dick. Like, I just didn't know you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then you go, I get it. Like, you know, if you didn't know me, why would you want to But
yeah.
I'm a talkative person, so I guess, but I can't, this is something I learned in life. We can never expect people to be the way we are.
For sure. You can only, don't expect people to be you. Like, you can only be you, and they can be them.
But we do sometimes, and that's why that's how problems create. Like, well, I wouldn't have done that. Yeah. Right.
I did this for you, and you didn't do the same for me. Like, well, I'm not you, bro. Like,
right. And then that becomes like offensive, right? Like, what you mean you're not me? Like, you know, as you get older, you start to see these things, bro. Trust me. And I'm just like, even in the dating world now, bro, like everything's so different. Like, I'm single, but you know what I mean? Like, you know, I've been single for about 3 years. And, you know, I know I probably look older, but I probably don't look as old as I am. I don't know. But I still attract women that are younger. And the conversations that I have with them sometimes, bro, it's like, being older now, I'm like not just looking for a physical attraction, right? Like now I'm actually looking like, but when you deal with a younger chick, you have to realize a lot of them mentally aren't there. So it's like, do I want to deal with this and nurture it, or do I want to pick the girl that's like 35 with like 4 kids? Right. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's just, I'm just clowning, but you know, I just, you know, just kind of correlating with understanding life, basically. Same thing with hip hop, understanding misunderstandings.
Yeah, I think, you know, old age comes with wisdom, which is,
that's for sure.
Which is dope.
Yes, sir.
So I want to ask you, did you like the first shit you ever recorded, did you like it? Like,
I'm an arrogant person, bro.
so you're like, hell yeah, this shit.
I've loved everything. I think, yeah, like, I mean, because you're asking me, like, did I love it? I loved everything I recorded. But I think, you know, if I would have learned constructive criticism of myself, you know, there's stuff I listen to and I'm like, bro, this is trash.
So are you hard on yourself, or you?
I think I'm harder on myself now, but not hard in a bad way. More like, I know I could do better than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know, you know, like now too, like even as I've gotten older, I think for about the last 2 years now, I'll still write if I need to, but I've learned that the exercise behind the guys that say I don't write is when you can write in your head, which I've learned to do. Sometimes it takes a little longer.
Yeah.
But what happens is it's usually not always as complex, right, in terms of schemes. But what I will say, it's more true to who you are as a person, because it becomes conversational because you're saying it to yourself over and over. So it becomes conversational. And then when you go and spit it, it's just more of a real talkative flow. And that's what makes it dope. That's why, like, it's very few artists that, like, if they used an alternate voice, they had to be super animated, like Be Real or like Busta. Like, they're dope, super dope, right? But they didn't really use their talking voices because of how animated they were. And that was just a different skill, I would say, that not everybody has. People try it, but there still has to be a certain charisma when you do that.
I love the animated shit. I love, like, the way, like you said, Busta, like.
Oh yeah.
And I listen to his shit, like the ad-libs he would just be throwing in there, like, woo, like, and he just be spitting that crazy, and especially like his pocket. It's like, how do you even, like, you kind of sound like you're off a little, but you're somehow still, like, in pocket, and it's so smooth. Like, that feels,
yeah, bro,
crazy.
Yeah, that's, you know, it's like M be doing that shit too.
Yeah,
you know, I
feel like you have to write to do that type of shit now.
Some people, I mean,
maybe,
you know, look at how you've seen how Eminem writes, right? Fucking
like
scattered all over, and then they're phrases that he memorizes, and then he puts them all together. That's insane, bro.
Yeah,
it's a different level of genius right there. But that's why they're the creme de la creme, bro.
Yeah,
you know, like.
Do you do that? Like, kind of just write bars that come in your head?
Yeah. I'll write bars. Like I said, I've gotten good at, like, if I think something real hot, I'll actually, because we have these phones, I'll record it into the voice memory so that I can hear it back later on.
Yeah.
You know?
Just write it down. Something random pops in my head. Just write that shit.
You speak Spanish too, right?
Nah.
And then, do you understand it?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm one of those.
Because, like, that's something that I felt like in Spanish wasn't being done, that I've been doing a lot of the recent stuff that I'm going to be putting out, is like Spanglish has been done, but actually, like, intervening, like, real bars together. You know what I mean? Like, from English to Spanish. And then making them connect through... Because it's hard, you know, because syllables, the breakdown, enunciation, it becomes hard sometimes. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's something that I've definitely focused on for this project is like that.
Spanish in there.
Well, just how you do it, like I had one say, miren quien llegó, yo soy el mero mero. Y'all dudes acting like straight bitches. Sentimental, my flow mental. Mejor que se pongan frenos. No soy menso, don't play, no soy un juego. So it's, you get what I'm saying? Like don't play, no soy, like, that's the bar right there, right? You know?
Listen to Spanish, English.
Yeah, and it's going in and out. It's flowing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So is, you know, and sometimes that, yeah, bro, like, that one I wrote in my head, but, you know, sometimes if I need to write it, I write it, bro. Canvas is canvas. So, you know, to me, that's what a pen and a pad is.
So do you punch in?
Of course. Yeah, if I have to.
What about back in the day?
You know, we thought we were all one take Hove back in the day, bro. Fucking, We thought we were Biggie and shit. And oh yeah, bro, I don't even punch in. I just fucking one take. Yeah. One. So back then I used to do like, I would literally just spit the whole verse over to say I didn't have to punch in. And then I would disguise it. Like once I did that, if there was parts that I wasn't too happy about, cause right? You know. So what I would do to disguise it was I would hit it on the double. You know what I mean? And try to land right on the double so that it blends. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, but nah, like now I'll punch if I have to, bro. I'll punch if I have to. I don't, you know, the idea is to get my breath control to where I don't have to. But the thing with recording too that a lot of times they don't say is that, you know, a lot of times sometimes you should punch because you might have a certain attitude and bravado in these certain 4 bars and you didn't capture it in the next 4. So, you know, I have a team where when we catch that, it's like, all right, we're going to keep these. We need the same bravado on these next 4. Yeah. So it's not just about what you're saying, it's how you're saying it.
Well, I don't like to punch. I don't like to punch it.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like it feels more like natural when you just spit the whole verse. And like the energy and the momentum of it. To my ear, it just sounds better.
Yeah.
Even if like, if I do have to like, switch up the flow, if I am doing that, I have to get it all in one.
That's how I used to be.
It takes practice.
Yeah, for sure.
But like the way I write, like I'll write a bar, and then until I get my next bar, I repeat that bar over and over. And then, okay, next bar is here, and now you got 2 bars, and you repeat those 2 bars over and over. And that's how it gets like stuck in my head more, better.
Yeah.
That's why I like the writing process better than the just going on the mic and spitting shit.
Again, even when you don't write though, when I say going from the head, you still write it like that, just in your head. Yeah. So you go in and you're like, first 2 bars, there's no match. A choke cats and the smoke cats with a 4-pack of dope raps. There's no match. A choke cats and the smoke cats with a 4-pack of dope raps.
It's the same shit.
And you keep doing that, right? Once you got those 2, you add the next 2. The next 2. And then you work on your cadence and everything from there once you have the whole shit memorized. Yeah. So it's essentially still writing. Like that's the funniest part, right? People will say like, oh, I go off the dope. Yeah, but you're still writing, bro. You're just writing it in your head, which is dope, you know what I mean? But you're writing. Yeah. It's just you're using this muscle instead of the hand muscle.
Yeah. Whatever gets it done. I mean, as long as you're not trash. So, you're a big East Coast fan, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a hip-hop fan, bro. But like I said, my boys, you know, the style of dressing, like, you know, the shit, like, I'm not a big Chucks guy or Vans or Cortez, you know, but I like the shoes. Don't get me wrong, but I was always a flat foot kid anyway, so those shoes definitely never helped, you know. So, but again, bro, I don't front, bro. I was definitely heavily influenced by East Coast hip hop at that time, and I think everyone was, but I think I took it a step further by being influenced also by like the fashion of it. You know what I mean? That was the difference.
So how do you feel about Jay-Z saying like nobody can see him in the verses? You think that's true?
I mean, who can? I mean,
the only person I could think of is Eminem, but Eminem doesn't really have hits like that. Like,
well, that's kind of like where see, it's not, you know, as much as it is just the hits. I think it's a lot has to do with like longevity, influence. Like a lot of people won't want to admit that, but these things to me have play in a verses, especially that new live version, right? Yeah. So again, I'll just say this about Jay. I think nobody beats Jay in New York. That's what I'll say.
The only person I would think of is DMX.
Yeah, but X is gone.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Yeah. And that's a possibility because I didn't realize how much he would rival Snoop. I was like, Snoop got way bigger records.
Yeah.
But can you imagine if that show had been live somewhere?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Again, but see, that's also depends because you do that show in LA, he ain't fucking with Snoop. Like, people gonna fuck with X because he's X. Yeah. For sure. You had big records, and we're gonna show you love because you're DMX, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same token, like, if you're in LA, you're probably not gonna get the same reaction that Snoop's about to get with his records, right? True. So, you know, it's I don't think anyone beats Jay in New York and in a lot of places. It's gonna be rough, bro, because he's, you know, I'll say this. A lot of people keep saying 3-6 Mafia beat Bone, this and that, right? And I'm like, y'all are lucky Bone couldn't bring out Big and Pac. That would have just shut the whole shit down, bro. Yeah. You got nothing 3-6 would have done. All that Grammy hard out here for a pimp, bro. None of that shit would have mattered, bro. None of that shit would have mattered because he, you know. So when you think of a Jay, right, like even up against an Eminem, bro, he can bring out Beanie Siegel, Memphis Bleak, Neo. He bring out Eminem for his own track, like, you know, bring out Nas, bring out Juvenile, bring out like who does he not bring out, bro? And then he brings out Beyonce. It's for real over if he really wants to do that on that level because it's Beyonce. Yeah. So, you know, I think people, I always say this because I understand this to be what people look at because I used to I have this conversation with my boy all the time because his whole thing is you can't be better if you don't have the numbers. You can't be better. And I'm telling him, I go, in theory, if we're going by numbers, I get it. If that's where we're going, but I think when people pick their MCs, they pick from two places. They're an emotional state, which what is their favorite to them, and then who they think is a better rapper. That's it. And you can't tell nobody no different, bro. Like no one can tell me that Jay is better than Nas, bro. I don't care. Okay. Like Nas is,
but he's not seeing them in the verses.
No.
Exactly.
No, that's the cool part, right? Like, because at that point we start talking numbers, hits, different things. Like all the things that my boy talks about that in a verses, that shit plays into effect.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
Like I thought Dipset was gonna come in and smoke the Locks till the Locks reminded me, hey young boy, like you must have forgot all the songs you used to listen to. Yeah. But I wasn't really into the Locks back then like that.
I had the Locks winning.
Did you? Yeah, some people did, bro. I wasn't. I guess I listened to the Locks, but I won't say that I was this huge fan. I think I became a bigger fan of certain things later, bro. Like I was a victim of like staying stuck in what I wanted to listen to for a certain time. Like, you know, when
Sorry, could you say that again?
When Jay and them were coming out, like even when Jay first came out with like Reasonable Doubt, Volume 1, Volume 2, I was listening to it and I was a fan, but that shit wasn't better than Exhibit to me at that time. 40 Days, 40 Nights, Restlessness, Paparazzi, Relentless, Paparazzi, like,
hey bro,
the Alcoholics.
Exhibit, I think is so underrated. Like
super.
Like lyrically, like he's a beast.
But you know what they say too, and this is the cool part because they say he rapped too much like an East Coast dude.
But he had a West Coast sound.
And but remember when he went really West Coast, he lost his core fan base. It seemed like he grew a whole nother fan base, which was obviously the Evolution dope. But I remember people really like from the underground, the Alcoholics, you know, like all those fans. they were dissing, bro. Like, oh, that fool sold out. He's rapping over Dr. J beats. Like, bro, that's a bad thing? What do you mean?
I think you got best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Honestly. You got some dude really spinning lyrically and banging ass West Coast beats. Like, I loved it. Like, Exhibit is...
That's what I'm saying. So imagine that while Jay's already bubbling, I'm still like, nah, you got this is shit right here. You know what I mean? Tash, bro. Like, you know, and to all, you know, respects, like those dudes are still dope to me and definitely guys that I listen to. But I think I would listen to those guys so I could say like, nah, I listen to West Coast cats. But I guess it was more like you listen to West Coast cats that like rap like East Coast rappers over West Coast beats. That's what the homies would say, you know, even like J5, you know, what's the Ahmad from something Avenue, I think it was called, their crew, 7th Ave, I think it was. Those were all fools from the West Coast. Weren't the far sides from out here, aren't they?
I don't know.
I think. Well, but yeah, that was pretty much that, bro. So, you know,
yeah, see, I grew up on the West Coast. It was not till later in my life that I started like listening to East Coast and just really appreciating it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I got so hip to East. I think what it was, dude, was just. I think what it was I think I got influenced by TV at that time, and stuff like The Box and Yo MTV Raps and The Basement, and most times it was always East Coast artists.
Yeah.
So I'm watching this, and when I'm seeing like the West Coast guys, I'm like, but they're not as good as these guys, because now I'm listening to the lyrical ability, right? And thinking that the more words, the bigger words are what make you better, when that wasn't really the case. Like Snoop was just as dope as anybody, even if it was a simple rhyme. You couldn't say it cooler than Snoop,
right?
You know what I mean? Like you just couldn't say it as cool as Snoop.
That's why, like, Still Dre.
Right.
Jay-Z wrote it, but...
That's crazy, right? Jay wrote both verses, too.
Yeah.
Even Snoop, I didn't know he wrote Snoop's verse.
Right.
That's insane. But...
if you listen to it, though, you can actually tell, like...
yeah.
This sounds like Jay-Z, yeah.
Put your face in your lap. Niggas want to be the king, but the ace is back. That's definitely a Jay line right there. Like that, just the punchline of how that bar is set up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Man. But, shit. How much time you got or what?
Shit, yeah, you know, I got to get going.
You wanna wrap it up?
Yeah, it's all good.
Anything you want to say? Anything you want to...
Yeah, just follow me at Tony Nario. At Tony Nario on everything, from everything, Tony Nario. And you'll see, as long as it says Hiphopalkatraz with it, then you know it's me. Usually I have a picture of me and my daughter. That's my little buddy. And check out the new single, Characters, out right now on all major platforms, every major platform. Just put Tony Nario Characters, pops right up, and bump it, share it, you know, and new music coming soon.
For sure. We didn't even get to the battle rap shit you were doing.
Oh, LA Battlegrounds?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can ask me something. Go ahead. I haven't done it in about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Well, how'd you get into that?
Well, I come from battle rapping, but on the corners. You know what I mean? I never got into the rap Olympics like some fools did. Like, I was just always the guy that, like...
I heard you battle with Any Means.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, they took it down. I don't know why. Icon was the one that had recorded that. And, yeah, we were doing a video for Concrete. And he was doing it by my house in Westchester. So I pulled up to the video, and Any Means had been there. And I guess he had just gotten out. So I had heard a couple people say like, "Oh, this fool was like saying this and that about you, like about the way you rap, blah blah blah." And I'm like, that nigga can't fuck with me, right? So, I get there, I see him, and to me, he just looks like a fucking cholo. That's how I looked at it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm still with this mentality that we're talking about at this time, right? So he's got like the traditional checkered shorts, you know what I'm saying? And like a hoodie. And I remember he kept showing off his G-Shock. He kept saying, I'm the first Mexican with the G-Shock. And I was like, bro, we had those in like 88. but you know, he had like the G-Shocks were back in style. Like, remember when they started bringing all the colors, and he had one. So I remember him saying that. And we walked. He had some homies with him. I was dolo. I was by myself, and but I was in my city, so I wasn't really tripping. So we go inside, and he was like, I heard you think you could spit. I was like, I know I can spit. He's like, let me hear something. I said, well, you challenging me, bro. Like, you know, you coming at me, spit your verse. All right. So he spit, drops his first verse or whatever. He's kicking writtens. So he kicks his first verse, but I didn't expect him to rap like that. I expected him to sound like a cholo, right? Yeah. So when he spit, he caught me off guard. I was like, oh, you want to rap. So me, I'm not doing writtens, bro. We going off the top on the spot. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know, you fucking ugly, you dirty, what did I say? So you fucking ugly, you dirty, you fat, you really, really gay, you look like the mom from Gilbert Grape, like, just, you know what I mean? Like, I remember I said some shit to this shit like that. His man had a shirt, and I was like, it said something like, something about ball sack or some shit on his shirt, and I was like, I said he kind of like your shirt, just with the shit dangling below the skirt, like, cause it had said ball sack or so, it said something to that extent. So I'm going though, bro, but we're in the spot, bro. Middle of my second round, he's like, he was like, cause I kind of like stuttered a little bit, and he was like, up, and I just kept going, and we got to the third verse, he kicked his shit, and then I kicked my third. And he was like, you good? And I'm like, bro, I can go for days, bro. Like, it's on the video. Like I said, I don't know why they took it down. And then I shook his hand. I was like, man, I know you can spit like that. Because for me, it's hip-hop. Yeah. For me, it's hip-hop. Like, it was still respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was never some, like, diss thing. Like, the one thing I could say about me is that he, even in that moment, he treated it as hip-hop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he showed love, became friends. He ended up running with glasses, and we connected back with that because I was running with glasses, and you know, I mean, I still run with glasses, but you know, he's kind of ventured off into doing his own thing, but you know, but yeah, we battled, bro, and it was a pretty good battle, I would say, in my opinion. I mean, I won, you know what I mean? He'll say he won, I'm sure. You know, that's what MCs do, right? Yeah. Like, he'll be like, look at the comments. I'm like, well, bro, I go, at least my comments are people I don't know. You know.
So there's no clear winner.
Well, there never is, even in the state of battle. That's what kind of brought me into LA Battlegrounds, was that I ended up loving how it was running, where it was basically it started becoming where, you know, I got to play a real life video game, basically. I would go to these different places, I'd hear these dudes spit, I'd throw small events, I'd throw one at the Watts Towers, bro, because I wanted to find the most street rappers, right? And you know, I had homies from different hoods or whatever, and my partner, rest in peace, who passed away, my business partner, he had a lot of connections with glasses. I got a lot of connections. My SA homies, you know, holler at certain fools, and so that's pretty much like where the whole idea came from, bro, in terms of doing the battle rap. And then we would just find talents, bro, and then we just like start matching them up to each other, like, you know, and building from there. And we became a pretty premier battle league in LA as LA Battlegrounds, because I mean, you know, like, one of the guys that came through our platform who's a regular now on URL is B-Dot. Yeah. From Pacoima. Yeah. You know, Geechee Gotti touched our platform. He came from the Riot out in Orange County. They call it Riot LA, but they really didn't do a lot of events out here. Like, their shit was out in Orange County. And then little by little, like, as we started like veering off, then they started coming towards LA more. And then Geechee being from Compton made it a little bit easier for them to do that, right? So
you pick everybody to battle?
Yeah. Yeah, I would, we would find talents and we'd build them up. And then once we seen who was what and who could really probably stand up against big dogs, we'd fly them out from New York to come over here and battle our guys.
Oh, shit.
You know what I mean? And yeah, like, we had we had a girl where we did a domestic violence event. We gave this chick named Miss Black Diamond from, I believe she's from Watts. We gave her a match with Shotgun Suge from the URL. He's a big name. We brought Young Cannon to battle Strick. This white kid that was hard as fuck, bro. He was from Houston.
Yeah, I was watching a few battles. I seen that fool with the B-Dot.
Which one with B-Dot? Danny Myers?
Yeah, Strick.
Oh, yeah. That was the first B-Dot. No, second. First one was Fijiosa, but that one really went viral with Strick because I think it was the content, the fact that he was with what he was talking about, and the fact that he was battling a white guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he was kicking some shit. And then the very next one from that one, I believe, was we did LA Beef 2 or 3. And he did, we booked him against Danny Myers. And Danny Myers was like top dog already in LA. OG cat, been doing it. And that would be the equivalent of our hit record. Because that one, I think it sold about 20,000 pay-per-views.
Damn. How much each?
I think they were what? I think they were $19.99.
Damn.
Yeah. And it went viral, and people, all the bloggers from the East Coast were talking about it. That's when the URL really started looking out west. Mm-hmm. When that happened, they're like, what's going on over there? You know what I mean? Because there was other leagues, they just weren't making noise like that. Yeah. And not to disrespect or take anything away from the cats who have done so much, from like Project Blowed, who like did like Grind Time. There's a lot of guys from LA that were doing their thing, like Dumbfounded, all these different guys, right? Like No Can Do, Awkwards. There was a whole class of West Coast cats that really built up the scene out here, right? Even Project Blowed as well. Like Rifleman and all those guys. But I don't think that they ever, like they never, for some odd reason, like when the Grind Time would come to LA, like they picked only a certain kind of guy. And that was the reason that I created LA Battlegrounds, is because I felt like they were kind of excluding the street rapper, because the street rapper exemplified a little bit too much of what the smack rapper was in New York, which was the gun talk, the gun bars. Yeah. And Grind Time, for the most part, around that time was more like jokes. Because remember, that was battle rap at one time. It was making fun of your shoes. And then like the East Coast was like, not as jokey. It was more about the bars, the metaphors, but they would use guns for that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll give him the K and the cow, now he on Channel 9 News, like stuff like that. Where over here, it'd be like, fucking look at your nose. You get no hose, shit like that. So, that was, I think, the separation. And now it's kind of gotten like what you got with B-Dot, Geechee, Danny Myers. It's kind of all became cohesive. A lot of them talk about the same things, guns. They mix in messages, and now you don't just have East Coast. Like, you have everybody now. You got guys from St. Louis, guys from Houston, guys from Norfolk, Virginia, Oregon, Arizona, like New Mexico has that dude Don Marino, the Mexican dude. He made it all the way to URL. And he's from believe he's from New Mexico or Miami, one of those two. Mm-hmm. But he's Mexican. I know that. I believe he got popping in New Mexico. Something like that. But he got popping. Mexican dude, super dope. And you just have these guys from everywhere now, bro. And you have girls that are just as good as guys now. Yeah. It's probably like MMA and shit,
No, the battle rap scene is dope.
Mm-hmm, I haven't messed with that much anymore. I just kind of got jaded off of it. It got over. Once something becomes oversaturated and starts to become too mainstream, I was like, it's still dope, but I'm cool. I'm not gonna put in the effort for this, you know, because it's very little gratification shown. I'll say that.
Right.
You know, you put fools on, you know, oh, I'm the talent. Yeah, okay, well, I wonder if you would have done that if you had just been on the street recording yourself then, you know?
Right.
Like, as opposed to people actually putting on an event, setting up the platform, putting in money to an event, and making it to where these people can come see you, promoting you as the guy to come see. You know what I mean?
Basically the producers and engineers of
Right.
the song.
Yeah, exactly. That's why when certain artists get away from their producers and engineers, they sound like shit.
Yeah.
I love DMX, bro, but them last couple albums without Swiss, it was rough.
Yeah. DMX is one of my favorite all time. And when he passed away, like you said, like his past albums I wasn't really feeling them. But
the last one he did was hard.
album,
Right. Exodus.
I was just kind of, I don't know, just happy to hear his voice and just like him getting back to that raw. Like I was just like.
But it's because he went back with Swiss and he was focused.
Yeah.
You know, Swiss was his guy. He was his Dr. Dre. Like M is an amazing rapper, bro, but M sounds the best when he's with the doc.
Yeah.
It just is what it is, bro.
Yeah.
Snoop's the same way. Snoop can rap over anything, but you put Snoop with Dre, it's different, bro. It's just different.
I like Snoop with Pharrell.
Yeah, he does this thing with Pharrell too, for sure. It's a different vibe though.
Yeah.
You know, it's more playful, more his player shit. You know, where with Dre, it's always like it's the hood gangster shit. You know.
We can wrap it up, bro. I don't want to keep you here.
Oh, I appreciate it, bro. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming, man.
Yeah, let me know when this is ready, man. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Check it out, promote it, put it out, share it.
Yeah, we trying to get this shit going, so.
Cool.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.